Perfect. So mindful posture means you're sitting up nice and straight, shoulders are back and down. I would recommend you sitting in a seat. Excuse me. I'm standing, which that's fine too, but laying down, you're probably going to go to sleep. So as you remember, this is my Hobermann sphere. This is an inhale, holding at the top. And that would be an exhale, and that's one whole breath. So between 5 and 10, I need someone to type in the chat how many breaths we're doing. It's like quick draw, whoever types it first. 6, excellent. All right, good job, Riley. Here we go. Go ahead and let all the air out. Here's our Hobermann sphere. Breathing in and out through our nose today. Breathing in. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. And 6. Awesome. So we are doing mindfulness with sound today. So another reason why I have my little friend here, well, not a reason why, but another helpful thing about having him here is there are going to be distracting noises everywhere throughout our lives, right? Mindfulness can help us be less distracted by those. So if you struggle with ADD or you're just a distractible person, I get super distracted by noise, then mindfulness can actually help you learn to stay focused and not get, scattered everywhere when your brain is going 100 directions because you heard something, So throughout this whole session, if you hear my baby, if you hear something in your room or at your house, here's what I like to do for mindfulness. Notice it, and then bring your attention back to what we're supposed to do. It's really common for people to be like, don't pay attention to it, don't pay attention to it, just focus on me, just focus on me. That actually doesn't work very well. Like I can tell you for a fact, if someone's like, don't pay attention to that, pay attention to me. That can be really hard. I think it's better, in my experience, to actually take time to notice the sound. So let's say you hear an ambulance go down the road. It's really hard not to hear an ambulance. An ambulance is meant to be heard. They make them loud on purpose. And ambulance is kind of an emotional reaction because it makes us go, ooh, that's not good. That's okay to pay attention to for a second. Just notice it and then come back. Or you hear an airplane flying over. Notice it, then come back. Or you hear your dog bark. My dog barks constantly. I can't believe he's not barking right now because he barks when the wind blows. Notice it and then come back. You may have to do that. There we go. 700 times. And that's okay. So what we're going to do first, though, before we focus on sound, we're going to focus on noticing things. So, because that's another thing about mindfulness is paying attention. So what I want you to do is I want you to pay attention to my screen and notice everything you can on your screen about me or about my area. Because I'm going to ask you a question about it. So take it in. I'm going to give you maybe 5 more seconds to look at everything that you can. Okay. Now I've stopped my video on purpose. I want you in the chat. I'm going to ask you a question. So this game is called Ninja Eyes because ninjas are really good at noticing their environment, right? They go in, they know exactly where to find an escape. They know what tools to use, where everybody's staying, like super surveillance. So with your excellent skills of observation with mindfulness, you should have been able to take in everything about my picture, right? So let me ask you, with your ninja eyes, what color was the marker I had in my hand? You can enter it in the chat. What color, like if you were to write with this marker, what color would it be on the paper like that you write? Ooh. I'm gonna wait, make everybody answer first, and then I'll tell you. Oh, I see white, I see blue, I see black. Nick, have you got a answer? You don't have to. Give about 5 more seconds for people to answer. All right, I'm gonna turn my screen back on. All right, y'all ready to see? It was a Sharpie. Did you remember it was a Sharpie? Here it comes. It was blue. I had this in my hand the whole time when I was talking to you. I was waving it around on purpose just to see if you guys would notice. So mindfulness, just a little game, but start to notice what's going on in your environment. Take it in. Just see what's around. You might notice something different. Y'all like Sherlock Holmes? I love Sherlock Holmes. I've actually never read any of the classic books, but I saw the modern interpretation on Netflix, I guess is where it was put on, but it was originally done by like, I guess BBC or whatever, with Benedict Cumberbatch, who's amazing. It was fascinating. Sherlock Holmes is really good at this. He uses the power of observation. So you could walk in and be like, that person's left-handed, that person has been to China because they have this on them, or because they're carrying this kind of wallet, or because they smell like this kind of perfume. He could identify anything. I know he's not real, but in the books, he uses his power of observation. That's super mindful, to walk in and pay attention to what's going on. So we're now going to do that with sound. So where you are, we're actually not doing any moving today. So if you're preparing for yoga, don't worry, we're doing that on Wednesday. But what you're going to do is you're going to sit where you are, and we're going to do a little sound exercise before we get to the music part, okay? First, using, instead of ninja eyes, ninja ears, I want you to notice everything that's happening sound-wise in the room around you. Just in the room around you. Let's go ahead and pay special attention. And I'm gonna give us just a couple of moments where I'm not gonna be talking. What's going on in your near vicinity, in your room that you're in? And just notice it. Great. Now, you're going to take your attention and focus it on stuff that's happening outside the room you're in. So if you're in a busy house, you're going to listen to what's going on in the next room. Or if you're outside, listen to stuff that's kind of further away, not stuff that's happening right here. This is where you're going to notice that your attention wants to go right back to where you are, and you're going to have to just notice it and turn back. You're going to hear things from my screen. Well, I'm right next to you, so try to take your attention and put it on stuff that's far away, outside your house, in another room, and just see. Try very hard. See if you can notice. I'll give us a couple of moments, to see what we can hear. So, was that hard? Especially when my child put on Mindful Barbie. If you haven't met Mindful Barbie yet, this is Mindful Barbie. She sits and she meditates, and if you press her little button, imagine your feelings, she can do a meditation with you. So she's adorable, but I threw this at my kid so he would be distracted and not make noise, and I forgot that it actually does make noise. So if that distracted you, I hope you noticed it and then returned back to listening to something far away. I don't know about you, I had a really hard time finding something far away because everything just seems to be kind of quiet outside. I just can't hear anything. I could see the leaves rustling, but I couldn't hear them because I'm indoors. So last thing we're gonna do, this might be the hardest one. We're gonna notice sounds inside our body. Now you're gonna be like, Ellen, what does that mean? I couldn't notice anything in my body. Ooh, I saw people say they heard cars. Good. What I mean by listening to sounds inside your body is I want you to just take a second, see if you can just hear your breath. You can put a hand on your heart and see if you can feel your heart beating and imagine the sound of that. You can put a hand on your belly and just imagine the sound of your food getting digested. Just whatever works for you. Just notice all the things that are happening inside your body and what maybe kind of sounds are make kind of weird. If that weirds you out, then just think about your breath coming in and out. It's going to sound like ocean waves, okay? Again, there will be sounds that distract you. It's all right. So I've actually got to move my computer to a charger, but we're going to go ahead and I want you to think about what sounds you can hear inside your body, or at least imagine that you might hear inside your body. I'll give you a couple of moments. If you're having a hard time with that, just take another moment to focus on your breath coming in and out and the sound of it. All right, and bring your attention back here. We're going to do one last thing before we are done. Important to know about me is that I love music. I was raised by two people who are my parents. I was raised by my parents, duh. But they are musicians, and they are really good musicians. Both of them are professional musicians. They have their full-time job, or their side job has always been in music. So I was going to like music whether I liked it or not. And I love music. How many of you enjoy music? You can just drop it in your chat. If you have a special type of music that you like, I pretty much like all types of music. So long as I think the person like created it with some thought to it. I don't like music that I feel like people just kind of make to make money and they don't put a lot of thought behind it. That kind of gets on my nerves. But I love alternative music. Yes, I like alternative. I probably the type that I like the least is country, but I'll listen to some country if I think it's really well done. So what I'm going to do, because I like pretty much any type of genre, I'm going to play something a little bit different for you guys, okay? I'm going to play a song called The Swan by Camille Saint-Saëns, which he was a French composer who lived like 150 years ago. It's not a long song. It's like 2 minutes long. But I want you to mindfully think about the sound of the violin, or sorry, the cello in it, just like the melody that's playing. It's a beautiful melody, one of my favorite songs. Again, it's only like 2 minutes long, so not a long time. See if you can just take your attention and focus it just on the melody line. And if you can't focus just on the melody line, or if you're not sure what that is, then I want you just to pay attention to the song itself. So let me pull it up. Ooh, Yo-Yo Ma's playing it. He's great. Let me pull it up on my computer. Give me just a second. Ah, I love this song. Okay, I can't wait. Yes. All right. I'm going to also share the music to your computer. So it should come out of your computer, hopefully. So we will see. Cross our fingers. Let me know in the chat if you have an issue with it. But if I don't hear from you, I'm going to presume that you can hear it okay. All right. So let's just take a couple of minutes to just listen to. Wasn't that lovely? Like, I'm such a geek. I'm like, oh, that was so beautiful. I think it's a beautiful song. And so it's called the Swan because it's supposed to be this like beautiful image of a swan, swimming on a lake, doing its little thing, floating across. That's beautiful, but I like to envision it just like for anything. Now, we just spent some time super paying attention to that song, which, by the way, if you like the song, let me know in the chat. You don't have to. But just imagine if we listened to our music like that every time, if we took the time to really absorb ourselves in the music, I saw that on a meme the other day where it was like, have you ever had to restart a song because you weren't appreciating it enough when you were listening to it? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, like, just ignore me, but that is so me. Like, if I'm in the car and I've got something on and I am jamming and I'm like, yes, but then like I get distracted and I start thinking about something and then the song's over, I'm like, I gotta listen to it again. I did not appreciate it like that I should have. So it's basically being like, oh, I need to listen to it mindfully again. I need to pay attention to it. Music is a great way to cope with stuff too. How many of you guys are like, I'm feeling bad, I've had a bad day, let me put my tunes on. I need to just listen to something. Me. And sometimes if I'm feeling kind of bad, I'll listen to happy stuff to make me feel happier. And sometimes I'll listen to bad stuff because I need to feel bad. And I put on sad music. It makes me sad. Sometimes I just like put on music and I want to, imagine stuff. Like I'll be riding in the car with somebody and we'll just put on music and I'll just imagine things as I look out the window and, tell stories to myself in my head. So please tell me I'm not crazy. Does anybody else do this? Like, this is me. That is mindfulness. You are using mindfulness when you do this, when you are enjoying the music so much, you're living in it, you're letting it kind of carry you away and soothe you. It's like medicine for the soul for me. I love music. Let it do that for you. Let it be that for you. Be mindful about it. So yes, mindfulness and music can go hand in hand. Like, oh, I love it. It can be a sensory experience. I know some people who they see colors or it reminds them of something, So if you heard that song, you're like, yeah, that's not a swan for me, but that's cherry blossom, petals falling to the ground. Okay, good. Let that be cherry blossom petals for you or whatever the heck. So I just think it's fantastic. So try to do something mindful every day, even if it's only 2 minutes. Take the time to pay very close attention to what you're doing. And that could be just when you're brushing your teeth, noticing every tooth and brushing every tooth instead of going through the motions. Or another trick, put it in your opposite hand and then brush your teeth. And that will feel weird. And then you will pay attention to it. Or as you're listening to music, pick one song, go, you know what? I'm really going to listen to the words of this song today. And you might learn something new. Or you might go, ooh, this song means something I didn't realize. Or you might say, wow, that bass is hitting it for me today. So do something mindful. You can do the same thing with food. Take a bite of food. The very first bite you take of your dinner tonight, let that be a mindful bite. And what I mean is eat the bite and really enjoy it. Taste the flavors of it. Don't just scarf it down. Think about the flavors and how it tastes good, the temperature of it, maybe who made the food and where it came from. We do a lot of that in America where we eat food. We don't think about the process it took to grow the food, to ship the food to the grocery store, et cetera, et cetera. Practice your mindful focusing. We notice the sound of the baby complaining and we bring our attention back. See, you're getting better at it already. Awesome. I hope that was enjoyable for you. Let me know in the chat, are there songs or certain music styles that you think are easier to listen to than others, that you find yourself being mindful with more than others? And just let me know. I'm curious. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.